It is mock draft season. Other people like to call it the best time of the year, and I tend to agree because I have a ton of fun doing those for you guys. On today's episode, we're going to go into my 7-round mock draft, 11 picks all coming at you. But before that, let's go back to my mock draft 1.0, give you a little bit of rundown of who I had the Baltimore Ravens selecting. Jahdae Barron with the first overall pick, Trey Harris in the 3rd round. Love Tyler Batty with that 4th round selection. Ty Felton late, Fadil Diggs. A lot of really great picks. I think O'Donnell Fortune is going to be really, really great. Also in the round 7 pick, had Johnny Walker, edge rusher Adam Mizzou. That's the thing about these picks. Baltimore's got 11 of them, and you know what? It's a lot of draft picks, okay? I don't think they'll have 11 by the time the draft comes. I think they're going to trade 1 or maybe 2 away. We'll see. And the rule for these mock drafts is I can't pick the same person twice, so everybody I just picked is off the board. Can't pick them again, okay? And we're about to get going into it, but before we do, I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think we can hit 250 likes on today's video? Because last mock draft hit 171. Okay, we're going to get better every single day. That's just how we do things on this channel. Can this one hit 250? If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up button. It's free to do. It's an easy way to help out me, help out this channel, and help get this video out to other Ravens fans across the country. So if you haven't already, easy, hit that thumbs up button. All right, I'm going to preface this video with I'm assuming a Ronnie Stanley deal is done because Eric DeCosta mentioned in his press conference on Tuesday that he's optimistic that a deal will be done. Okay, so if Ronnie Stanley's done, I don't think they go offensive tackle in the 1st round. Instead, I've got them going wide receiver with Matthew Golden, number 27th overall pick. Tex just threw up the hook'em horns. I'm throwing up right back at him. And Matthew Golden, he's the definition of a burner. And he's a guy that I just could not pass on at that number 27 spot. Okay, I think there's a chance he goes higher. I also think there's a chance he might go a little bit lower, but I think he's the perfect receiver for Lamar Jackson and this offense. Okay, you look what he was able to do this past year with Texas, his only year with the Longhorns, spent 2 years prior to that at the University of Houston, almost eclipsed 1,000 yards, played in all 16 games, 9 touchdowns, 17 yards a catch, only 4 drops, and he had some good years at Houston, battled in and out of injuries, right? Only 20 games played in the 2 combined seasons in 2022 and 2023. I love his skill set. I love his natural abilities. I love the fact that he's still really young as well, okay? And other than those 3 things I just mentioned, I believe that he is one of the more clutch receivers in this draft, okay? Because against Georgia and against Arizona State, okay? SEC championship and the game to, what was the Arizona State game? Quarterfinals? Quarterfinal game against Arizona State, the closest game that Texas played in the playoff, and the SEC championship. He had 15 receptions, 311 yards combined, okay? He's got a massive catch radius for a guy who's only 6 foot and unreal speed, okay? He is running I don't know if he's going to run the 40 at the combine or not, but the last time he did run the 40, he was a 4.38, okay? This dude's a burner. And don't worry, I still love Zay Flowers. I do, okay? I really, really do love Zay Flowers. I just think that Matthew Golden could come in here and just fill out this offense, fill out this wide receiver room in a way that almost nobody else can, okay? He's there at 27. I have a hard time passing on him. Give him to me right there, 1st round selection. Grade that 1st round selection for me, okay? Grade the pick of Matthew Golden. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F in the comment section down below. I know how I feel about it. Want to know how you guys feel as well. Next up, we got Azareye'h Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State University. The Seminoles, round 2, number 59 overall pick. He was really the only bright side for that Seminoles team this past season. And the reason I'm taking him at number 2, I guess in round 2, is I'm not so sure that Baltimore trades for Jaire Alexander. Okay, I think that Eric DeCosta in his press conference literally said out loud, you know what, we're going to be like the Ravens kind of always have been, okay? I think they're going to prioritize their guys. I don't know how they feel about going out and making a splash move, getting a guy like Jerry Alexander who's struggled with some injuries, okay? And so because of that, I still think you got to go cornerback in the first 2 rounds of this draft. And if you do get Azareye'h Thomas, you're getting an absolute dog. Let me tell you, 52 tackles this past year, 2 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, and an interception as well. He's got great instincts. He's incredibly fast as well. He's got really long arms. He's just a long individual in general, okay? And I love the fact that from a tackling perspective, he has improved every single year of college. What was 14 tackles quickly turned to 29 tackles, which quickly turned to 52 after that, okay? And he's got a lot of really great things about him. Like I said, the arm length. He's great in man coverage, which I think is what this team needs, especially with the probable departure of a guy like Brandon Stevens. The thing about him, some cons, not great with the short area quickness. He has limited reps. And my grade on him is a late round 1, early round 2. So if you can get him at number 59, I think that's a great pickup right there. And that's my round 2 selection. Let's go to round 3. I got Lathan Ransom, safety out of Ohio State University. And as much as it pains me because they knocked off my Tennessee Volunteers in the college football playoff, this position needs some depth, okay? And I know that a lot of us are confident in Beau Braid, okay? Confident possibly in Sanusi Kane, the deeper members of that safety room. But there's a reason you didn't see him this past year when that safety room was taking a toll with Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson, okay? Those guys still didn't get playing time. They might not have developed as well as this team wanted them to in their first season. But a guy like Lathan Ransom, I believe, can come in here and be a great depth piece in year 1. You look at the stats in 2024, 76 tackles. This dude's just a tackling machine. 3 pass breakups, a pick, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery. One of those picks, that pick he took for 6, 9 tackles for loss as well. And I think he's a great pro comp to Jalen Petrie, okay? And if you know anything about Jalen Petrie, he's been absolutely phenomenal in Houston. One of the reasons that their secondary has been one of the most dominant in football, especially in these past 2 years, okay? So Lathan Ransom, some might think it's a reach. I think he's going to test very well at the combine. Pick number 3 of the draft goes to Lathan Ransom. Let's go to pick number 4. Edge rusher out of LSU, Savion Jones. Round 4, number 128 selection. And he had a pretty decent year at LSU, okay? The good thing about him is he's still really young. He's only 21 years old. He's massive, 6'6", 280 pounds. Did get 40 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 32 quarterback hurries, which is a great thing to see. But the thing about it is you still need an edge rusher to come in and be that dominating factor. I don't think Savion Jones can come in and do that year 1. Okay, I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be great, especially in the run-stopping capabilities. And because of that, I think Baltimore goes edge rusher in free agency. Okay, I don't know if they quite have the coin to get a guy like Josh Sweat. I think Khalil Mack at a reduced price might be a little bit more of an opportunity, a little bit more of an option. But I think if they do get an edge rusher in free agency, then I think they can go for a guy like Savion Jones in the 4th round. I think he'd be a really great pick. Weigh in for me. Where does Baltimore add an edge? Is it in free agency? Is it in the draft? If you think it's free agency, go ahead, give me an F in the comment section down below. And if you think it's the draft, go ahead, give me a D. Coming up, we got 7 more selections. You heard me right. We've already gone through 4 picks. We got 7 more. But before we do that, got to talk about the sponsor of today's video. As our great friends over at Factor, it is the best place to get the best and most delicious and also easiest meals you can find. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. So you can feel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. And what I love about these Factor meals is that they're so quick, okay? We work some late hours here at Chat Sports. There's a lot of times I get home, I don't want to spend 30 minutes cooking a meal that doesn't even really taste that well because I'm not that great of a cook, okay? I'd much rather pull this thing out of the fridge, 2 minutes, you're eating, and it is very tasty. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. So I go back-to-back edge rushers in round 4 because next I'm taking Antoine Powell-Ryland. That's a mouthful if I've ever heard one. Edge rusher out of Virginia Tech, just 5 picks later after Savion Jones. And he was a stud this past year at Virginia Tech. Okay, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 43 tackles on the season, 16 sacks, 48 pressures, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. Okay, and he's had back-to-back really, really great years with the Hokies. Okay, he originally transferred in from Florida after the 2022 seasons. And if you look at the last 2 years, 34 combined tackles for loss. Okay, 25.5 combined sacks. He's been absolutely dominant, and I do believe that getting him at round 4 might be the steal of the draft. Okay, I think he's going to end up being a better pass rusher than Savion Jones is. Okay, Savion Jones is a little bit more of the whole package because he's such a great run stuffer. He's 6'6", 280 pounds. He's just massive. I think he's going to play for a very long time. But I think Antoine Powell-Ryland's ceiling is a little bit higher. Okay, I think he's a little bit of a sleeper. So because of that, I need you to do something for me. Name a sleeper in the 2025 NFL Draft. Tell me in the comment section down below. It's a guy that you think should be maybe taken earlier in the first round that falls late in the first, or a guy you think will be there in the 6th that shouldn't be. Okay, let me know in the comment section down below. Alrighty, these ones are going to go a little bit faster. Next in round 5, Danny Stutzman, linebacker with the Oklahoma Sooners. And Danny Stutzman, just a classic linebacker, right? Not that great in coverage, hard-nosed, hard-hitting, super tough kid, tackling machine, 109 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, 13 pressures. And the thing is I love Stutzman enough to take the gamble. But I also worry about him in coverage, okay? I don't think he's going to, I don't know if I'd put him and Roquan Smith both in at the same time on passing downs. I think that just kind of sounds like a disaster, okay? He's not that great. Neither is Roquan Smith when it comes to coverage. However, I think he's an absolute beast. I think he's worth the risk. Let's go to round 6, shall we? We got a few of these picks, 3 to be exact, maybe actually 4 6th-round picks. Number 184, give me Tim Smith, defensive tackle out of the University of Alabama. And I think he's going to be a solid interior depth piece. I don't think he's a guy that you can come in and expect year 1 to have a year like a guy like Jalen Carter, right? He's not going to be breaking records. He's not going to be taking over games. But I think he's going to be a guy late in the 3rd, early in the 4th, that when our interior depth piece that our starters get a little tired, Tim Smith can come in there, give those guys a little bit rest. I think he's going to be a great player. Okay, let's go to pick number 204. Still in round 6. Give me Jalen Smith, cornerback out of USC. And man, he had a pretty phenomenal year. Okay, again, was one of the brighter sides to the Trojans. He had an 82.5 coverage grade. He had an 82.7 man coverage grade. His run defense was an 80.1. Okay, he's a guy who checks off a lot of boxes, and I believe he has great worth for the 6th round. I would not be surprised with his tape mixed with just his abilities if he's a guy that tests really well at the combine and flies up boards. Okay, maybe gets taken in the 4th or the 5th, but if he's there in the 6th, I'm taking him eyes closed, no questions about it. Don't jinx it for me. Do you want the Ravens to kill the draft like they did in 2022? If you do, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Like today's video if you want them to have the best draft in the entire National Football League. Sticking with round 6, we got a ton of these, ladies and gentlemen. Just 6 picks later. Get me Efton Chisholm III, wide receiver out of Eastern Washington. You might be asking who. Guys, this guy is a stud. 120 catches, 1,300 yards, 10.9 yards per catch, 13 touchdowns with Eastern Washington. And the question with a guy like him, who has the stat profile that he does, and let's be honest, who also looks the way that he does as well, you kind of ask yourself, could this be the new Cooper Kupp? Did the Baltimore Ravens just find their Cooper Kupp in the 6th round of this draft? I think they might have. Okay, he's a really good route runner. He has solid hands. He's not going to burn you over the top. I think he's just a guy that could be a really great check down receiver that could turn small receptions into big ones. Sticking with round 6, 4th, 6th round pick in a row. This is Dean Clark, safety out of Fresno State with the 213th overall selection. He had over 140 tackles, 8 pass deflections, 4 picks in the last 2 seasons. Okay, he's a guy that's just kind of a little bit of a tackling machine, and I think he could be really, really an asset as more of a depth piece, right? I don't think he's going to come in and be a starter. I think he's a guy that's going to play behind Kyle Hamilton, play behind Azareye'h Washington. He's going to be great in run support. Let's go to round 7, shall we? Kyron Lacy, wide receiver out of Louisiana State University, okay? And I know that Lacy's going through some legal trouble right now, and that's the reason he's falling to 7 in a lot of these mock drafts and a lot of people's boards. But if you're sitting there at 7, and you've already had 10 picks in this draft, you had 4 6th-round picks, I would be so okay with them taking a flyer on Lacy and just saying, you know what, this is a guy who a couple months ago before this came out was graded as a round 3, possibly a round 2 selection. Let's just take a chance on him, okay? I'd do it, honestly, in a heartbeat, okay? Comment below, rate the second mock draft. Rate mock draft 2.0 for me. Scale it 1 to 10. Let me know your answer in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Really do appreciate every single one of you who watch, and then not only just watch it, but watch all the way to the end. You guys are the real ones of today's video, of today's channel. Thanks so much. If you haven't already, hit that sub button.